Hey, hello. I'm sitting a bit askew here from where I usually record, and that's because I have my computer monitor over here and I need to read some things of it in this episode. It's just a short video, and as the title suggests, well, at least the music is good in 2025. And that is, of course, in my opinion. I think it came off to a really great start when it comes to the music. I mean, the rest of the world might be in turmoil at the moment, but at least we have the music, and I think it's really good. And there's a lot of good things to look forward to as well, in my opinion. So that's what I want to talk about today. So, to start off with, in January, it all kicked off in the best way possible. And I already talked about this album. This is Kim Wilde's latest album, Closer. Made a whole review of it here on my channel, so go and check that out if you haven't already. What a great pop album, and I called Kim Wilde the savior of pop in 2025, and I still believe that. Yeah, a really good one. So off to a good start. And then the month after, last month actually, because we're only 3 months in to the year, this one was released. This is a reissue of my favorite Jean-Michel Jarre album, Zuluk. And yeah, boy, what an album this is. I first got it in 1985 on cassette, had that for ages. Then I upgraded to a CD. And then when I heard about this one last year, that it was going to be released, the 40th anniversary, which was actually last year, but it came out this year. But doesn't matter. I was so curious about how does it sound today with today's technology? What have they done with it? Because this is one of those albums that have been tampered with quite a lot ever since its initial release in 1984. I think even the year after, or 2 years after, when it was reissued again, they had remixed some of the tracks. They didn't sound exactly the same. They did some edits on them, and then throughout the years on other reissues they tampered with the sequencing as well on the album, so some tracks ended up where they weren't supposed to be, according to the initial release at least. So yeah, a lot of things been happening to this album, and I haven't really followed that. I read about the people complaining about this, or yeah, so I was curious about this one, and you know what? It sounds really, really good. It's a good remastering, and they actually got the order right as well on the tracks. And I'm sure there's been some remixing done on this one. I listened to this one so much over the years, and to me it sounds, of course, clearer. Some instruments are more prominent. If that has to do with today's technology or the fact that it's been remixed, I don't know, but it sounds really, really good, so I'm not complaining at all. And you also get an extra track on this one. This sticker down here says one bonus track, Moon Machine, and apparently I think this one's been released before on some compilation years and years ago, if I'm not mistaken, but it was recorded during the same sessions as Zuluk, so it's now included here as well. So it's a great bonus. I think it's a good track. It fits in with the rest of them. So yeah, good reissue we had. And this month, actually last Friday, this one came in my mail. This is Banks' latest album, Off With Her Head it's called. And Banks is an artist that I just recently discovered. I think it was through her previous album, Serpentina, that came out. I heard it by chance. It came on after I listened to something on Spotify. It just popped up and started playing. I was like, what is this? It sounds really interesting. It's alt pop. Think, what can I say? Lana Del Rey. She doesn't sound at all like Lana Del Rey, but you know, that kind of, you know, lyrics with meaning and all of that, a bit deeper kind of thing. Yeah, no, it's really good alt pop. This is I fell for it straight away, and I love discovering new music. Well, at least music that's new to me. It might be an old record, but it's new to me. And well, yeah, but this happened to be the new record from Banks, Off With The Head, and I really love it. So if you're into alt pop at all, check this one out. I'm sure you're gonna love it. It's one of my highlights, really. So one record for each month so far this year, but we have a lot to look forward to, and that's what I've written down here on my screen. So, to begin with, we have a new album coming from Billy Idol. Yes, their comeback, right? And this is an album called Dream Into It. And it's going to be out on the 25th of April. And a new single was released just recently called Still Dancing. So I checked that one out. And it's a funny one. He ripped off himself. It actually sounds like the good old track Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. Yeah, it really does. And I can't really fault this new track for it because he ripped off himself and I love Rebel Yell. So this track also sounds good. Yeah, it's not as good, of course, as Rebel Yell. And I was a bit disappointed that he ripped off himself. But still, it's a new album come from Billy Idol and I only heard this single. I need to hear some more tracks before I really make up my mind and might invest in a vinyl copy of this one. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm really glad to see that Billy Idol is back. And you know what? Steve Stevenson is back as well. I saw him in the video. His old companion there on guitar. Steve Stevenson? How very Scandinavian of me. It's, of course, Steve Stevens. Nothing else. And then we have one of my absolute favorites. Suzanne Vega is releasing her first studio album since 2016, I think it was, when she released, what was the name of that album? And I didn't even write it down. I think it was called Beloved Lover, or yeah, but that was her latest one, 2016. Since then, she released some live recordings. She did some re-recordings of her old songs, Close Up. It was different volumes of that one. I really love that. But this is the first album with original material since that studio album in 2016. And this one is going to be called Flying with Angels. And it comes out on May the 2nd. Yes. And I'm really, really excited. Being a big fan of Suzanne Vega, I already told this on previous episodes here on my channel, but if you haven't heard it, I'm a big fan of Suzanne Vega. I discovered her with so many others when she released Luca back in, was it 1986? And with the album Solitude Standing as well. And ever since then, I've been a hardcore fan, really. I bought all her albums, been to her concerts a couple of times. And I just love everything that she's done, really. A really good storyteller, in a singer-songwriter, basically. And she does it really, really well. And she released a new single from this upcoming album called Speaker's Corner. And I really like it. I was a bit like, ooh, this is a new sound for Suzanne. And the first thing that came into mind, this is more guitar-based, which is, of course, stupid. To just think that. She's always been guitar-based. But yeah, it was a rockier... So I can't really find the right word for it. It's a different sound from what Suzanne Vega's been done before. And that's something I always admired her for. And I always admire artists that do that and try to progress their sound from album to album. And that's what she really did, that, because on her debut album is mainly her and the guitar. And then on the second album, Solitude Standing, she evolved that. It was more an 80s production with a lot of synthesizers. And then Days of Open Hand came, and then she evolved that even further, and so forth and so on. So I always admire that. But I really liked what I was hearing from that new single, Speaker's Corner. And it's all about, the lyrics is all about the turmoil, really, on the other side of the pond in the US at the moment. Because if you haven't been following the news, things are happening. Yeah, so it's a critique of the current government. Let's just say that. And it's really good. It's really, really good. So that you can catch on streaming, and you can also hear it here on YouTube and see the video. It's really good. And along with that, you can also watch another video and listen to another track called Rats from Suzanne Vega from this upcoming album. And I haven't found it on Spotify yet, so only on YouTube. And that one really blew me away. That is basically Suzanne Vega goes punk. It's a rougher sound, at least, and very energetic. And the closest thing that I can think of that Suzanne's done when it comes to this energy, that was on 99.9 Fahrenheit degrees, that album that came out in the 90s. But this is even rougher, more energetic, and I love her for doing something like this. Really, really love that track, Rats. And that made me look forward to this album even more, if it's even possible. It's such a good track, so go and check it out. It's really, really good. Yeah, so I promise, no more Suzanne Vega. I already praised her, but that, like I said, coming out on May the 2nd. Also on May the 2nd, Andy Bell, the voice of Erasure, releases his next solo album, 10 Crowns. And there's been 2 singles released from that one so far. Breaking Through the Interstellar was one of them. And I really like the energy of that song as well. A bit of a high energy electro-pop kind of thing. The only thing that bothers me in that one is that they applied auto-tune to Andy's voice during that song. And I understand it's more for the effect. It's not because he's a bad singer, because we know he's a really good singer. But for some reason they thought, yeah, let's add auto-tune to his voice. And that really bothered me for some reason. In some songs, it's okay. I mean, Madonna did that quite a lot on Madame X, and I love that album. But for some reason, it really bothered me here. But yeah. But the next one, the other single that was just released 2 weeks ago, I think it was, it's Don't You Know? And it's not as high energy song. It's more like standard pop song, but I really like it. I especially like the chorus in that one, and no auto-tune this time around. Just Andy's lovely voice. So it sounded really good. But I think I need to hear a couple of more tracks, just like with the Billy Idol one, before I make up my mind to actually buy this one. But yeah. Promising things. Andy Bell and the album 10 Crowns, also out on May the 2nd. And then we have, I already mentioned with Banks, Lana Del Rey is coming out with a new album, and apparently on the 21st of May. And this is something that she herself announced last year, that I'm going to have a new album out on the 21st of May. And it's going to be called The Right Person Will Stay. And we got a sort of a preview from that album, but I'm not sure it's actually a preview any longer. But it was described as a preview from that upcoming album, a single that was released last year, and for the life of me, I can't remember the title. She did this as a duet with some else. I might have to put it here on the screen because I can't remember it now. I didn't really like that one. Wasn't too keen on it. So I was like, that doesn't bode well for the new album. But then I didn't really hear anything. She might have released something else in between that one and today, but I haven't heard it. But I was a bit disappointed in that one. And the rumor was also that it was going to be a country-flavored album. But then Beyoncé came and did a country-flavored album. So I'm not sure, because it's not that unique anymore, people doing country-flavored albums. So I'm not really sure which direction this one will go in, but she usually surprises us in a good way. That's my experience, except for that single that I was just mentioning. But yeah, The Right Person Will Stay. Hopefully it will be out, and if it is, it's going to be a 10th studio album. Once again, great old pop from Lana Del Rey. And then some disco. You can't have too much disco in your life. That is, in my opinion, of course. Sophie Ellis-Bextor is coming out with a new album, and it looks like it's going to come out this summer. No date's been set yet, but last year we got treated to a new single from that upcoming album, Freedom of the Night. A really good pop disco song. Exactly what Sophie Ellis-Bextor does best, pop disco, and we love her for it. It was a banger. I listened to it so much. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. And then this week on Friday, Lady Gaga's new album comes out, Mayhem, and this is one that I was really surprised about, because was it late last year when she released that album, when she recorded some golden oldies, basically, inspired by the latest Joker movie, the second Joker movie. And I love her voice, and she did them well, but it didn't really appeal to me. And I was thinking at the time, why don't she just release another pop album? And all of a sudden, also last year, we got the single Disease released on streaming services, and I was like, ooh, this sounds good. And then this year, not long ago, we got Abracadabra, their new track, and I was blown away straight away. I love that track. It's absolutely one of my favorites. And you know what? Lady Gaga might be a contender for the savior of pop this year, but you know what? We can have both Kim Wilde and Lady Gaga as the saviors of pop. Actually, we can have plenty of them. They just join forces and fight in the name of pop, really. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this album. And of course, I pre-ordered it after just listening to 2 singles, but I've never been disappointed by Lady Gaga, not from any album that I bought from a catalogue. Yeah. I don't have words how much I'm looking forward to this one. So yeah, Friday it comes out, Mayhem, and I'm going to listen to it all weekend. And then, of course, I'm going to do a review as well. Yeah, so I think that's it. No, yeah, speaking of pop, we also have Madonna. There's been rumors of a new album coming out, so hopefully this year we will have some new stuff from Madonna as well. And she's been hinting on it's been kind of a follow-up to Confessions on the Dance Floor, which would be really great. Something she did announce recently, I think I saw it on Instagram, she teased that Bedtime Stories was going to be re-released. And I was like, really? Are you going to re-release Bedtime Stories? It wasn't her most successful album. It's a good one, but it's still available. You can buy it basically anywhere. So it's not like it's out of print or anything like that. But I was thinking, well, she could have remastered it, or there were some extra tracks. But then I saw someone else, or was it Madonna? It doesn't matter. But there was a hint of it being an EP kind of thing with unreleased tracks or outtakes from Bedtime Stories sessions. And that makes more sense. We'll just have to wait to see. But there's more Madonna on its way. And, you know, hopefully, speaking of pop rock, Paul McCartney just finished his tour. And there's also been rumors that he already recorded a new album. And perhaps they are mixing it or mastering at the moment. We can just hope. But they usually keep it quiet until all of a sudden they say, oh, by the way, in 2 weeks' time, you get a new Paul McCartney album. So I'm also really, really looking forward to that, if that's going to happen this year. So, yeah, that's it. At least the music is good in 2025, in my opinion. Because you might sit and say, well, you're wrong. There's nothing so far that's been released that I like. And I can't see anything upcoming that really thrills me. And that's okay. This was in my opinion, right? But I also want to hear from you guys who actually picked up some great records so far this year. And also, what are you looking forward to that's going to be released later this year? In pop, rock, metal, whatever. I want to hear about it down in the comments. I love finding new music and getting some recommendations. You never know. Might fall in love with something that I least expected. It happened before. So yeah, I would love to hear that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be back soon with some more music talk. And until then, you all take care of yourself. And as usual, I bid you adieu.